So today we have with us Mrs. Nilakshi Shukla. She is the owner of Bigness Montessori, which has a couple of branches in Kolkata. And ma'am has been in this field from last 25 years, and they have celebrated their school's silver jubilee also. With that, myself is Ratna Rao. I'm taking care as a head business development with TD Beans. And we have Nilanko Ghosh, who is a product development manager, product marketing manager for TD Beans. So, ma'am, if you can share something about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Nilakshi Shukla, and I have been living in Bengal for the last 50 years. I actually belong to Assam. I'm an Assamese, married to a UPI living in Bengal. And I've done my schooling from Chandanagar, St. Joseph's Convent, Chandanagar. That is up to class 10. Then 11 and 12, I did science in the Frank Anthony Public School, where I joined as a teacher later on. And I did my college from JD Birla. Okay. And I did my B.Ed over there. So one thing was very clear in my head that I'm not going to be a housewife. So I told my parents to get me married in class 12, or if they let me study, then they should let me work. So they did. I worked for 2 years before my marriage. The day I finished my B.Ed, I joined Frank Anthony, and I worked there for 8 years. But I left because of the birth of my son. So I took a break for about 3 years. And that is when the beginner's story started.
Okay.
Yes.
So, ma'am, when did you started your school? So
I started in 1996.
okay.
So you see, I had two things in mind. Either I want to be a doctor or a teacher. Now, you might think, what sort of a wish is that? Because they're two very varied professions.
True.
But yes, both deal with children. I wanted to be a pediatrician or be a teacher. So I just wanted to be with children. That was my idea.
Okay.
Just do something for the children, be with the children. I love children. So when I gave my medical, and I don't think I was intelligent enough to get through, I didn't get through. So I thought, okay, let's be a teacher. So when I took a break, that's when I realized like I was totally useless. I was doing nothing. And I had enough time and I left it because I had promised my husband that once I have a child, I will definitely take care, because my family is very supportive. Okay, but when you have a child, give those few precious years to your child. And that is when I took a break. And during that break, I started getting offers from parents, ma'am, please teach my child, teach my child. So I said, okay. So I started teaching the children, little ones in the evenings. And it started with one child and went on to 40 children. Okay. So it became a huge crowd in my house in the evening. And the children refused to go because I got them apparatus, I got them toys. And it wasn't that usual traditional tuition class. It was more about play and fun and studies and spoken English. And it was all in one. So it was like a nursery school in my house for 3 years.
Right.
So parents also understood that she never looked at the watch, the clock, and never called the parents, come and pick up your child. So they were here for 3 years. They even got their tiffin in the evening.
Okay.
So I said, okay, when they're studying, let them eat also. So then that is when my family threw me out and said, you better get a place. This can't happen in the house. You need a place to do this. Okay. I had never planned on opening a school. I had just planned on being with children and teaching them. This was God-given. So when the numbers increased, I kept a teacher also in the house to help me out. And since there were children of the same age, 2.5, 3.5 approximately, studying the same thing, doing the same thing, it was easy for me to do everything together. So that is when I took a small place, just a rented house, 3-room house, and I started Beginners.
Okay.
So that's how it happened in 1996. I didn't plan it.
Okay.
God planned it for me.
So that was really a very inspirational thing.
Yeah.
So, and
I never looked back after that, because I started one branch and it went on to 5 to 6 branches. But at the time, 5 branches were running. And I had 1,300 children in a Montessori.
Okay.
Meaning all Montessoris in Kolkata, almost in the same area, Lake Town, Tegoria, Moti Jheel, Salt Lake, they were all around in the same area.
True.
So yeah, it was, I don't know, maybe God given. So I had 13, I had 5 branches running together, 1,300 children. And that was
Okay.
there for about 20 years or so.
Okay. So that was really an inspiring story, means how the beginners began. So
Yeah, see, you actually need to love what you do, and you need to have the passion. If you do something because you have the money, like somebody has the money, wants to invest,
exactly.
fine, you invest, you open a preschool.
Hmm.
But you don't, if you're not just passionate about it and love children, and the entire day you're only thinking about your school and, you know, trying to get ideas, it doesn't work. Just money and that doesn't work. You just need to be passionate about what you do.
Exactly, ma'am. The teaching is always about passion.
Yeah.
So as ma'am, you said it's all started in 1996. So,
Yeah.
so during that time, we as per our knowledge, so we have heard that preschool was just as a luxury thing, okay, for the parents. But now the scenario is different. So if you can throw some light on the means, what is your what is your thought on that? Means how do you see that time and this time, if I would say?
Helen, having difference. See, people ask me what are the challenges you face. I didn't face any challenge. To be very frankly speaking, it was really smooth because people didn't have expectations. People didn't have
Right.
choices.
Right.
Okay, so right now there are, like, say 10 Montessori's in the same area that I'm
Exactly.
running my school. So when I started, there were just 2, me and somebody else. So
Hmm.
when I started, they shut down. So
Okay.
I was the king at that time, one and only.
Hmm.
So in one particular branch, I had 700 children in Lake Town. Never heard of 700 children in a Montessori. So I took one house in a lane. And then
Right.
after 1 year, I took another house, then another house. It was a dead lane.
Hmm.
So by the end of, say, 5 or 6 years, I had 6 houses in that lane, all ground floor houses with the landlord living on the top.
Mhm.
Okay. So it was no looking back. Like, it just continued. I didn't have to do anything.
Hmm.
But now it's different. It's very challenging now. So parents at that time, if you want to know whether the parents were aware, how aware were they, what were they looking for? They were not looking for anything. They were just looking from a school nearby who will teach their child ABCD and some English. That's all. They didn't have any demands.
Okay.
Okay, the child should have his tiffin and, you know,
Hmm.
speak fairly well, and
Mhm.
they respected teachers, and
Right.
they had no demands. But now it is totally different. Now it is like there is more demand than you can supply. It's like
Right. Right.
everything is a demand. Like in our time, there was no AC, there were no computers, there were
Mhm.
no multimedias, or there was nothing, social media, nothing.
Exactly.
So, but now everything is different. It's
Right.
you need to be on Facebook, you need to be on Insta. Insta I've just learned in this pandemic. I'm still learning. I'm 59 years old, still learning. I learned to use the laptop recently after the pandemic.
Okay.
So now things are changing. So if people think that it must have been very challenging for Mrs. Shukla to run a chain of schools with 1,300 children, very frankly speaking, it was not at all. It was a cakewalk. It was nothing. It just happened. But if you tell me to start all over again, a new chain of schools, I'll think about it, because it is difficult now. It is very difficult because it's too much expectation from the parents. Now they want AC, they want cameras in the class, they want social media, they want their presence, they want to see the class. Everything, like, you are overpowered by them.
Right.
Parents, they don't want to come for a meeting. They want to call the teacher 24/7. The teacher has to be available. WhatsApp messages, you don't have any personal life. It is different. At that time, it was once every Friday, come and meet the teacher. Once a month, first Friday, parent-teacher meeting. Okay. Now it's every hour. ma'am. So it's difficult.
So the parents are
It's
evolving.
very challenging.
So we would say the parents are evolving.
Well, how well they are evolving is a question, because now there is too much interference from parents, too much demand.
Right.
And it is not just studies. They are not interested in the academics as such. It is the frills. Won't you take them to the zoo?
Okay.
Aren't you going to have a picnic? When will you take them for a movie? So it is difficult for a preschool to actually, the safety of the children is of prime importance. So it's very scary to take so many children out, even though we take them, but
True.
we can't do it often.
Exactly.
Ma'am, this school took them to the post office. So it's challenging. It's very challenging.
Okay.
Now,
So, ma'am, in often the teeny beans partner, they are generally very much concerned about the admissions, means how to get if I'm opening a school, how to get my admissions, or an existing partners, or for existing partners also how to get new admissions. So, what
Yeah.
was your challenge, means getting admissions, means then and now, if I say.
then was no challenge because we were the best. We
Okay.
already had a name for ourselves, and everybody knew I was a teacher of Frank Anthony. I was teaching children at home, and the children were doing very well, got into good school. So the name was there, I was known, so it was not a challenge. But when I opened schools in different places, by then beginners was known. So even then, when I opened my Tegoria branch, on the very first day, I had 24 admissions.
Okay.
I would open my school office a month before I actually opened the school.
Okay.
So parents who would go around would come and see the school and all that. So they already had an idea, and luckily we were the best at that time. So everybody knew beginners. So we just kept on opening branches and kept on getting children. Whether you'll believe it or not, I didn't have a single poster anywhere. I didn't have a single ad anywhere. It was just word of mouth.
Okay.
Because people didn't have choices.
True.
Say in the 5 kilometer radius, there may have been 10 schools or 5 schools. In 5 kilometers, 5 schools. Now in 1 kilometer, you'll have 10 schools.
Right.
So they didn't have a choice at that time. They knew, okay, this is good. If you're fairly good enough, they will come to your school. And then I did a lot of research also.
Okay.
Before I opened a school anywhere, like, location. It is very important. How do you get admission? It is the look. Even me, after being so successful, even I had a flop show. I opened a school, my 6th branch in Newtown.
Okay.
I lost about 15 lakhs. I kept the school open for 6 months. I just had 4 kids.
Okay.
4 kids in 6 months, and the other schools were having like 300, 400, 200, 800 children. So why was that? Even we were the same beginners. Everything was same. The same syllabus, the same everything.
True.
It was a location. I misjudged because that's a new place. Are you all from Calcutta? Then you'll understand what
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
saying.
We are from Calcutta.
Okay.
Yes,
So then you know Newtown. So I
Yeah.
opened a school in Newtown and near what do you call that? Near hometown.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So commuting was a problem, and I had no idea that 90% of the flats that were bought were empty.
Okay.
They were like, people had bought them as
For renting them.
just kept them for renting them or just property. They were just buying it as a property.
Just as an investment,
Just
if you say.
Yeah. So when I went to then the system started of, going to housing complexes and doing a little show or some game show or giving pamphlets or to, talking to the secretary of that building to let you know your presence. So when I went to one of these buildings, it was university. They must have had about 4,000 flats or what.
Right.
So I asked, how many do I give pamphlets and how many members are there? And they said around 400 something. I was like, 400 out of that many flats? So that I had misjudged. So actually, no matter how successful you are, how intelligent, how smart, whatever you are, you have your infrastructure is good. But if you choose the wrong location, that's the end.
Right. So
After 20 years of running beginners, it was a flop show. So location is very important. So what do you look for in a location? See the schools around you. Are there any schools that are doing very well? Are there no schools? Are there some, like my Tegoria branch really hit off the very first day. Just next to us was Koila Vihar.
okay.
Maybe a few thousand flats, 900 flats.
Right.
And the next was Koila Vihar right in front. So it was densely populated. So, And remember one thing, nobody wants to send a 2-year-old child or a 3-year-old child 10 kilometers away.
True.
Parents want to send the child just within 1 kilometer's radius. या तो वो खुद छोड़ के आएंगे, या तो रिक्शा वैन लेके जाएगा या गाड़ी, but they are not going to send a child in a school bus far away.
True.
So your location is of prime importance when you open a school. Nothing can be more important than a location.
True. Like ma'am, you rightly pointed out a few things like the word of mouth, which plays really a very good importance when it comes to promoting a preschool. Then the other factors which makes a preschool successful is the location. So apart from location, would you consider some other factors that make
there
the
is.
preschool special?
What I did was I just went around a few schools that I knew were there here and there, and I spoke to the parents, those who stand outside the school to collect the children, and I told them I want to admit my child here, or I sent a teacher. I said, go ask, and I said, is it a good school? What is it you like about the school, and what is it you don't like about the school? So some of them said, oh my God, principal बहुत खड़ूस है, ढंग से बात नहीं करती. Somebody said, बच्चे लोग क्या करते स्कूल में पता ही नहीं लगता. They never gave us, like what's happening in the school, we don't know. So then I sort of wrote down all the bad points of all the schools, and I found out all the good points. And then whatever ideas I had, and then I sort of converted all the negative points to the positive points. And I told my teacher, talk to the parents properly, answer their questions, tell the parents what the child is doing in class. So that sort of, nullified all the negative points that the other schools had into a very positive beginners.
True, ma'am. Like knowing the strength and the weakness.
Yes, ma'am, you're saying something?
Yes, so for our understanding, ma'am, it was a wonderful marketing you have done. So it was a self-learning as well as implementing the best thing. What others are having as negative, parents are not happy. You have implemented the same thing in your school. So this is
all myself, okay? All by myself.
So you have done the research, you have done the survey, and you
I was just 30 years old, 32, 33 years old at that time. And I did everything myself. Me and my handful of teachers, we just sat together and said what to do. Even while writing the curriculum, it was like a lot of research. And one positive point was that since I was a teacher, I taught in Frank Anthony for 8 years. And I always taught the junior school, nursery, 1, 2. So that sort of, I knew what the parents wanted. And the next thing, see, you're not about opening the school. It's also about running the school. People who are going to open a school also need to run the school. And if you cannot handle the parents, see, handling the children is no issue. All the kids are like really wonderful. It's the parents. So if you cannot handle the parents, you're finished. So opening a school means like, I have the money, I've opened a school, but who is sitting on the top? That is important. Who is your front desk person? Can that person handle the parents? In a preschool, it's all about handling the parents. Ma'am, mere bachchi ne tiffin nahi khaya. That particular child doesn't eat the entire day in the house. 6 hours khana leke ghumte hain. But we have a tiffin break for 15 minutes. How do I feed a child in that 15 minutes if you can't feed for the next, for 3 hours?
Right.
So a very intelligent person who has dealt with that person will say, ma'am, usko kya khana acha lagta hai? So she'll say, biscuit khata hai. But ma'am, aapne paratha bheja hai. So say, ma'am, ekdam nahi khata isliye bheja hai ki school mein khaye. So I said, ma'am, jo aap nahi khila sakte, wo main kaise khilaऊं? Kam se kam, wo jo khata hai, ab wo bhejiye. Uske saath jo nahi khata hai, thoda bhejiye, just in case dusron ka dekha dekhi wo kha lega. So the question is dealing with the parents. It is very important.
Exactly.
And it's like you have to thank Lord that today was over and the kids have gone back safely and no parents have complained. That is the biggest thing in running a school is you, after the location, the person who is going to run the school. Even if you invest 1 crore in running the school, in setting up the school, if the front desk person is not experienced in a Montessori school, has not worked in a school, has not dealt parents, it will not work. She's the one who gets the admission. She's the one who talks to everybody. So there should be people who say, oh, wow, she speaks so nicely. You should be able to talk and talk and talk and sort of just get the parents into your school. You know,
True.
the gift of the gab. You have to make the parents believe that you are good, and I think I'm quite good at that.
Exactly.
That's great, ma'am.
Very well.
Trying to convince the parents, that is important.
True, ma'am. True, ma'am. Means understanding in marketing, we say, means understanding the real pain which you have, right? And solving that efficiently, so that we both are in a win-win situation. Very well said. Very well said, ma'am. So during the last year, 2020, then we saw the thing that is called a pandemic. Okay.
Yeah.
So we would and that has a very adverse effect on the preschools industry, especially.
Yes. Yes.
And overall in India, majority of the preschools have been closed. So how did you overcome this challenge? Means what situation you were?
That only Lord knows how we managed. See, we in my school, since it's 25-year-old, starting from the Darwan to the Aya to myself, we are all there for 20, 25, 18 years. Like all the oldies. I just had one unmarried young teacher.
Okay.
So she was our tech guru.
Okay.
So when we saw that the schools are not opening, so they all said, "Ma'am, start online." I said, "Rubbish. I can't start online. I don't know what is online." And a 2-year-old child, 3-year-old child cannot do online.
Exactly.
But I had some teachers, I'm very grateful to them. "Ma'am, try, it will work." I said, "Listen, if I try, it doesn't work, I can't shut it down. So just sit down quietly. When the school start, we'll start." So March we shut, April, May, and then I was seeing, okay, agal bagal koi to school kuch kar raha hai. I said, no, I have to do also. So I learned. I never heard Google Meet. I never heard the word Zoom ever before in my life, before the pandemic. Okay. So everything was new, and we had to convert our entire text, what we teach the children, to digital.
Right.
And we were all oldies. So we had our one tech guru who taught us everything. What is presentation? I don't know. So now I can present a video. I can present YouTube. I mean, I really think I've come a long way. So also our parents. So to convince the parents, that start online. Nahi, ma'am, 2 saal ka bachcha kya online karega? It is absolutely true. They can't do online.
Exactly.
I mean, if they think, being a teacher, a principal, teaching children for 35 years, if I believe they can't do, why will the new mother not believe? She's just a mother for the last 2 years.
Exactly.
So we lost more than 50% of the children. They didn't join. So we started with around 200 kids. Even then, we had around 800 before the pandemic. But they all, biggest problem with the Montessori is you'll have 1300 at the end of the year. And again, they go into the high schools because, after 3 to, and especially in Bengal is the worst regarding Montessori because they're taking children at 2 years and 3 years. You go to Delhi, Bombay, Assam, they're taking at 5 years.
Okay.
So even earlier, we had our children in school from the age of 2 to age of 5 or 4. Now they're coming at 2 and leaving after 6 months. So the tenure of the kids that are staying in a school is very short. So all the time, we are looking for new kids. Do you understand? October में join किया, November में भवन्स में interview दिया, हो गया, March में छोड़ दिया. It's like that. So the period that they stay is very short. And this is only in West Bengal. I mean, a high school is taking at 2. High school is taking at 3. They should be taking at 5. But anyway, so even then we are struggling with the little time that we get with the children. We are struggling with that. So we lost a number of children during that. I mean, lost in the sense that they didn't join us. So our numbers came down. And then we also learned slowly. And the ones who were there, they were not paying the fees. And then I was paying a rent of 5 branches at that time, around 2.5 lakhs. So I was going crazy. Do I pay my teachers? Do I pay the rent? So I had 115 staff.
Okay.
So I said, I can't pay. 115 staff, not possible. So I just let go of my staff. I kept 20 that were willing to work. And I gave their gratuity, PF, everything, whatever. I said, come back when we start again. Because see, if I don't have a physical presence, I won't have any presence at all.
Exactly.
And the landlords will not consider anything.
True.
So there was one particular branch I was paying 90,000, that one branch.
Oh.
I kept it till October last year, then I left because I just can't. I mean, how can I pay when there is no incoming, there are no children. So we were really badly hit. And at one point of time, I thought I'll shut the school. But my teachers are very nice. They said, ma'am, you carry on. We are there with you. You don't worry. So I carried on. And hopefully by March, I should be around having 300 plus kids. We are still doing better than the other Montessoris around who have 30, 40 kids.
True.
But yeah, I just hope to get back to what I was after the pandemic. But this has been very difficult for us. And even for the children, because they're all pandemic babies, they have not learned to talk. They've not learned to interact.
Right.
They don't know who we are. And we always tell, keep the children away from the screen. And now we are telling, keep the children in front of the screen.
Exactly.
And secondly, because all the parents are working, mothers and fathers, so they've already spoiled their children by giving them their mobile, the 24 hours.
Right.
So the children don't talk. They're either hyperactive, attention deficit behavior, or delayed milestone, or whatever. A normal children just not talking. So now when we open a school to, like today we opened a school for fees collection and admission. So we tell our parents, if you want, you bring your kids, let them play and you take them back.
Exactly.
15 minutes, 20. So when they saw us, ma'am, आपका घर तो laptop में है, आप यहाँ कैसे आ गई? So they think we live in the laptop.
Right.
They don't know we are real human beings.
Right.
Some of them, when they saw us, it was like they're hiding their faces. Ma'am, आप ऐसे यहाँ बाहर कैसे आ गई? Then how did we come out of the laptop? So I can't blame the children. So
True.
It has been the toughest for Montessori's. Even though nobody talks about Montessori's, nobody gives much attention to Montessori's. Like the business community has suffered, Montessori's are the worst sufferers. In a high school, they are bound to pay the fees because the names will be cut off.
True.
In a Montessori, they are not bound to pay the fees. So suddenly from 800 children, I came to 200 children. All of a sudden. And that was a very big, what you say, it was a disaster for me. But we pulled on and we are still running classes. We are still doing it. It's okay. We are not getting any profit. We are not getting any salary. I mean, me, the owner. But yeah, it's fine. My school is alive and it's okay. I've kept it alive. The name is there. Parents are very happy. So I'm happy. So maybe when we get back to our normal self, we will do better in terms of monetary gain. Otherwise, we are very happy.
Yes, ma'am. That's a really good spirit, ma'am. You're moving on, and you have already answered my second question I was going to ask. Means, is the online the right?
Water.
Sure, ma'am. Is the online right approach for the for the kids? So you already answered that question.
No, it is a right approach. I see, something is better than nothing.
Right.
Instead of sitting at home, at least speak to us. Children interact with us. See the other children. Do nursery rhymes, do activities, have some fun. The entire day they're doing nothing. And now it's like, ma'am, and because we're having classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays. So 2 days we don't have ma'am Ashbina, Ajke ma'am Ashbina. So they are looking forward to the class because it is their time. Because 24 hours a day, we are telling our children, don't do this, don't do that, don't touch this, don't jump, don't. We never tell them what to do. So this is the only time when we do something with them. So when we do like pouring water, they're very happy. They get to play with water. And the mothers are like, ma'am, jol poche, ma'am, thanda lege jabe. I said, please, if the child touches water, thanda nahi lagega. Let him pour water, let him. I said, you are a mother, you are there, no? Give a towel to your child will clean. So 90% of the children are not able to do anything because the mothers are too overpowering. I said, so we teach our children even to eat in class. Eat. We want to see you eating with a spoon and fork. Right, ma'am. I don't want the mothers to feed the child. So it is, Montessori is not about ABCD, it's about the overall development of the child. Every aspect of the child. Right. Making them self-independent. Yeah, like social skill, motor skill, language skill, toilet training, communication skill, whether they can sort of tell what they want, express themselves, discipline, everything. Like it's about everything in class. And they need to go to a Montessori because every parent has one child nowadays, and this child is spoiled rotten by the parents. Saman de ke, no discipline, nothing in the house. Only when they come to school, they learn something.
Right.
Teaching ABCD is not important. I mean, that is easy.
Exactly.
But you don't go to school to learn ABCD.
Right. So ma'am, like recently the government also focused in the new education policy on the curriculum part of the school, that there should be a structured curriculum for a preschool. So many preschools have their own curriculum, whereas some follow the curriculum of a franchisor. Okay, so what do you feel being running an own self-owned school? So what do you feel the importance of the curriculum which should be self-structured? So we would like to have your point of view on that.
Yeah, I don't know about the new government policies because we haven't got any notice. It's by just word of mouth. We are hearing that 3 to 6 years there will be like activity-based curriculum, this and that. But yeah, I think that maybe for the high schools, because we already have an activity-based curriculum in a Montessori. They're not just learning ABCD and writing. Everything is activity-based in a Montessori. I don't think that is applicable for us. And we standalone schools, we haven't got any notice. And I don't think we come under these government guidelines because so to open a Montessori, you just need a trade license and nothing else. So we are not bound by any rules and laws of the government.
Right.
Okay.
Ma'am, I was talking about the curriculum part, means the importance of the curriculum. Many preschool, like there are some schools that they don't pay much importance to the curriculum, but whereas some schools do. So
no, see, it's very important.
While framing the curriculum, what should be the school should keep in mind, or while selecting a curriculum, what the school should keep in mind?
Yeah, I'll tell you. See, you spoke about franchise first, okay? But in the franchise module, what happens? They have a set curriculum.
Right.
But I disagree to it because a curriculum in Bombay cannot be the same in Kolkata.
True.
Why? Kolkata parents are Ado ki poriyecho, ki likhiyecho. It's like, what more are you teaching my child? Can my child write? Can my child study? Where is the homework? Like they're more interested in the studies part of it. But if you go to Bombay and Delhi, what are they interested? On the activity side. Whether they can speak English. Ma'am, bahar nahi le jayega. Ma'am, aaj kaun sa activity hai? So a set curriculum of a particular franchise module cannot be the same in all the places. It has to change according to the environment. Like, imagine if you're going somewhere towards a small 3-tier city, or you're going towards a village side, and your curriculum is more to do with outdoor something. It doesn't help because everything is outdoor for them anyway. But if you do the same outdoor thing in a place like Bombay, that really holds a lot of importance because people don't have outdoors in Bombay. Do you understand?
True, ma'am.
So in Calcutta, if they're taking children in a school at 3+ or at 2+, what is the high school expecting from the child? We have to cater to that. But if we just keep the children playing and doing activities and do nothing, but whereas in the other states, so I disagree to the franchise module set curriculum. Even if it's a module and you have a curriculum, every person should be allowed to change that according to the need of that place.
Right.
Every place has their need, okay?
True.
So when I set a curriculum, I'll see the age of the child. I'll see what the demand is. What do people want? And then I'll see every aspect of the child, his development. Like for his social development, what can I put in the curriculum? For his development, language skill, what can I have in the curriculum? Okay, for his motor movements, what practical everyday life activity can I give in my curriculum? So for every milestone in the child's 2 to 3 years in my school, what do I first, my priority should be, what do I want the child to be in this 2 years or 1 year or 3 years or 6 months? Where do I want to see him? And then my curriculum will be based on where I want to see the child. Do I expect the child to talk? Do I expect the child to mix with everybody? Do I expect the child to do a lot of hands-on activities? So that I have to decide first. What do I expect? Or what do my parents expect from me? Or what do I tell the parents that if you put your child in my school, these are the things he's going to learn. So am I going to pay a lot of importance to, say, health and hygiene, a lot of physical games, a lot of, vocabulary, speaking, speech.
Right.
So there is no set curriculum for a Montessori. It's all about your idea and what you want to achieve.
Exactly.
Do you understand? But yeah, the basics are there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Over here, would like to understand one thing, ma'am, regarding the curriculum itself. As you have very well quoted the thing, curriculum run in Bombay will not match with the requirement in Calcutta, and a curriculum run in Calcutta will not match the requirement in Patna. So
Yeah.
it is true. But when we come to the education part, there is something common which everywhere, pan India or pan like globally, the children are learning the alphabets, the numbers,
Yeah.
the concepts of flowers, vegetables, pet
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
These are same, and
Yeah.
peoples of the different companies are showcasing it as in a different way. For example, like Teeny Beans focus on early year foundation stage, EYFS curriculum. Some companies are there who are talking on multiple intelligence or the seven petals or the kindergarten methodology, Harvard Gardner, Reggio Emilia. So according to you as a Montessorian, as a teacher, and having more than 2 decades in the industry, so do you have any particular approach which you like in teaching the younger kids?
I just believe, see, I really don't know the things that you spoke about because I just have no idea what all you just said. Okay. I have just learned by, and I believe in learning by doing. So every child given an opportunity to do something, like for example, if I'm teaching shapes, so just teaching this is square, this is triangle, this is rectangle doesn't work.
True.
Okay. He should have the squares and triangles and rectangles and 3D figures in front of him and play with it and touch it and say the color and pick up the triangle, pick up the rectangle, show ma'am the triangle, put the triangles on the left, match the big triangle and the small triangle. Like it's all about the practical. So learning by doing is my method. Everything a child learns is learning by doing. Every single thing. Okay, so it's all about learning by, if I'm teaching them count how many, I will not teach 1, 2, 3, 4 from the exercise book. Okay, take your number card, take all the toffees or candies you have. Come on, put 1 candy on card number 1, put 2 candies on card number 2. So I believe in that concept of learning by doing. No mugging up, no looking at the book and memorizing, and no. If I'm teaching fruits, even now online, I will tell the parents, get some fruits, put it on the table. When ma'am says apple, everybody lift it up. Let your child touch the apple. Let your child smell the apple. Let him feel the texture. So my approach is that, practical. So when they said this new guidelines have come from the government, I didn't quite understand because that is the same thing we are following.
Okay.
At least my school is following.
Coming to my next question is, often while admitting kids to a school, so parents have some expectation, like they want for a preschool should give a foundation or a base to that kid. With that foundation they will get admissions in good schools. So what is your point of view on that? Means what are the
parents expectation is a lot. The child will come in crying and they expect the child to be toilet trained, to speak fluently in English, to write well, to be disciplined, to recognize everything that is around them, eat, have their tiffin, means just be perfect. They want just a ready-made child coming out from the school. And they don't want to make any effort. I've paid the fees. Ma'am, aap discipline karao na, aap usko daantiye na. How long? But the child is with me for 3 hours. The child is with you for 21 hours. So something has to be done at home also, no?
Right.
Ma'am, so parents' expectation is rocket high. Rocket high. It's like everything. They have given you the child, now it's up to you. You make him write, you make him speak, you make him, let him discipline him. He must have his tiffin, toilet training. Why did he wet his pants? That is also your fault. So expectation is very difficult to please them.
Right, ma'am. Very well said.
And get into a good school. And get into a good school.
Yes.
That
I
is
was
the biggest
coming to that
expectation.
point. I was coming to that
Yeah,
point
that's
only.
yeah.
So how does means preschool meets this expectation, means to getting in a good school?
The child should be able to understand the language that he's spoken to. See, officially, there is no interview. Officially,
Okay,
it's an interaction.
right.
But what is an interaction? Same. So
Right.
they basically talk to the child. So if they're talking to the child should be able to talk back, answer back, tell whatever, answer the questions he's been asked, should be able to socialize. So that's what I said, social skills, language skills is very
Exactly.
important. Child should be smart, walk up, not cry. In some schools, they take the child away from the parent. They should be able to leave the parent and walk away. So it's like, even now what is happening during this pandemic, most of the schools have taken online interview, but a few schools called the children too. Now the parents were initially so frightened ki online interview kaise hoga, but the children have got so used to online. Now they're getting frightened ab offline kaise hoga, because the children have not seen anybody, any outsider. They've never left they've never been outside the house, leave alone go somewhere as big as a huge school and just walk away with a stranger.
Right.
So yeah, parents are having a lot of problem. Kids are crying, they don't want to go in, but we can't help them. We are telling the parents, you start taking the children out. Take them to city center, take them to the terrace, take them to somewhere, let them mix with people, talk. This is the part the parents have to do.
True.
If he's buying an ice cream, let him talk to the ice cream wala. Let him tell the shopkeeper, uncle, give me an ice cream, instead of you saying give him vanilla. Let him say. So just give every opportunity to the child to talk to a person outside the school, outside his home. Whether it is the lady who comes to work or the milkman who comes to give the milk, doesn't matter. Every stranger that is there in your presence, your child should be talking to him. Only then he will learn to communicate.
Very well said, ma'am. Ma'am, my next question would be regarding the parents only. So, the schools, since we are seeing the schools are opening up, okay. Now they have opened from class 9. After a few days, obviously the preschools will be also opening up. So, are the parents ready to send their kids to the school?
At least not mine. Some are ready, some aren't. See, even if you read the papers yesterday and day before yesterday, there was a list of schools. Many schools are not calling their children now. Some schools are calling only for clearing the doubts. Some schools are only calling children for the pre-boards and boards. They're not calling the other children. Some are planning to start in April. So before a Montessori opens, it will be end of the year.
True.
I feel so. That is my assumption. Because after this will be middle school, then will be junior school.
Right.
Last will be Montessori. But very sorry to say, very unethically, many Montessoris in the locality are open. And they were open throughout the pandemic.
Okay.
But I can't do a thing like this. Yeah, in my locality I've lost so many admissions because of that. But it's fine. I will not open till I get a government notification. I'll not open. I've not opened since March 20 till now. But there are at least 10 Montessoris in my locality, all open.
Okay.
All open. Chains are open. The big chains. Can you imagine? The big franchisee chains are open. How can they do that?
True.
You come to Lake Town, go around and see everything is open. They're taking offline, online, and parents are very happy. Le jaiye 3 ghanta ke liye.
True, ma'am. So, ma'am, one more thing we would like to understand from you, like since you have been in this teaching line for a long period of time. So, how compared to the other cities, like if we say Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, so how do you see the maturity of the city, Kolkata, for preschool?
I'll tell you why, because I'm here for 25 years, so I've seen the change. I've seen the drop. I've seen what's happening. Number one, the young generation is not here. Like all the children who are, say, from 25 to 35. If you look around in your building, your neighbors, your complex, your neighborhood, your uncles and aunts, your cousins, how many of them are in Kolkata? They've all done their engineering, medical, whatever, and they're all working in Bangalore, Mysore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, Pune. Yes or no?
True.
Yes.
True.
In my building, there were at least 10 kids. At least 10 kids. I barely have like 1 or 2 left. All have gone out. So how does the next generation come? Why do you think my children from 1300 came to 850?
Hmm.
Because the next generation is not there. And yet more and more Montessori's are opening.
Hmm.
So if I had 700 in my one branch, say it came down to 500 because the next generation is not coming. Now this 500 are being divided in another 10 Montessori's that open in the locality. So if every Montessori takes at least, say, 20 children,
Hmm.
so 200 children gone, no?
True, ma'am.
From my school, right?
True.
So parents are spoiled for choices and there are no children. The next generation is not there. I've had few of my beginners children whose kids studied in my school. No, sorry, though my Frank and me children whose kids studied in my school. My school kids are still getting married. I'm going for one marriage on Saturday.
Okay.
So there, yeah, my first batch is getting married. 96
Oh,
batch
that's
is getting
great.
married.
That's great.
This is the third child who's getting married. My own son got married. I have another friend, another student got married. And today I got an invitation from a child who's getting married on Saturday in Stadel. Student of beginners, first batch, within the first 10 roll numbers.
Okay.
So I'm very glad the mother remembered us. So she came and gave us an invitation. So that's the thing. Calcutta is not the place. A difficult place. I will not say not the place. It's difficult now because the next generation is not here. Number of children have reduced. Like I opened in Salt Lake. And I was there for the second time after I've shut down the first time because of rent, then I opened again. I couldn't run the school. It's like all children are living in America and mom, dad are living in bungalows in Salt Lake. Do you understand? So there are no kids. True. So it's very difficult, but with the same amount of money or a little more money, and if you choose a 3-tier city or some other city, option in West Bengal only, opportunity is much more. Opportunity is more.
Right.
But if you go to Delhi, Bombay, Pune, definitely the opportunity is much more. But the type of investment will also be skyrocket in those places.
Exactly.
Very high. And the type of things that are going to be provided is also going to be a lot. Like it's difficult to satisfy, their system of education and what they're looking for is different from in Calcutta. It's basically more simple compared to the other metropolitan cities. Calcutta public is still simple compared to them. Okay. So I still feel that Kolkata is full of Montessori's. Every lane has 10.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a very good place to.
So Kolkata.
If you serve.
Huh? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're telling something.
Yeah, I said you can just go around and see for yourself. If you find some place which doesn't have, it's fine. Otherwise, this is not the place. It's all just shutting down. It's too much competition. I mean, like if you're 2 of you are there, okay, both of you have 200, 400 children, you can survive. But if you're going to be 10 of them and each one has 20, how do you survive?
True.
So, and the chains, see what is happening with the chain of schools. It's profitable for them just to open the chain. Whether it runs or not, they're opening, mushrooming, and they're closing. They're opening and they're closing. So it's okay. I don't know. Difficult for me to say, but yes, it's Kolkata. It's a difficult place.
So
but I think if you go to, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Would like to understand from pricing factor also how you will say about Kolkata, because yes, the requirements are
cheap, very cheap. Housing is cheap, things are cheap, labor is cheap. Ayahs you will get cheaper, teacher salary cheap, everything is cheap. But yes, you like for example, if you charge a child 2,000 per month here, it's hell of a lot in a Montessori. But in Delhi, Bombay, they're charging 10,000. So they are paying the teachers 20,000 or 30,000. Here, a Montessori teacher will take 5,000 to 7,000. So everything varies that way. In a Montessori, they will, straight away for admission 1 lakh, 1.5 lakhs. Here it is 10,000. That too you have to give discount. And now during pandemic, it is 2,500 to 3,500.
So some schools are there, ma'am, who are charging around 55,000 also for the whole year. And when I'm saying 55,000.
No, a whole year I'm not saying. I'm talking at the time of admission.
Oh,
It's very difficult to get those type of children who will pay for the entire year. They have to be the elite class. The normal family, the middle class family will not pay you 55,000 at one shot. They'll say tuition teacher rakh ke ghar mein padha lungi. We'll pay you 55,000.
so according to your experience, what should be the approx fee structure? Suppose if a new entrepreneur wants to start a preschool in Kolkata or somewhere else, so what will be your suggestion? Like apart from the location, one of the best point you have mentioned was the location. You have given a very
The
good
fee
examples
structure will depend upon the location. You open a school in Alipur, you can charge 2,500. You open in Park Circus, in Park Street, you can charge. But if you're going to open in, say, I don't know, Keshtapur or something. See, I have my school. My fees varies from 2,200 to 1,200.
Okay.
My Keshtapur fees was 1,400. I reduced it after 1 year to 1,200. People wanted me to reduce even further. I shut it down only. And Tegoria, I'm charging 2,200.
Okay.
So it all is locality based what you're going to charge. It all depends upon. It's very difficult to say, but average, yeah, 12 to 1,500 people are comfortable. And 2,000 plus, they're not at all comfortable. Like
So
they'll
it
creep.
depends on the
Yeah,
it
you can
depends on the
start.
demography also.
Yeah, you can start with 12 to 1,500. And in fact, start with 1,200 and move on. Like next year, if you're doing, see, it is the first time when you can get the children. That is the most important thing. Once they are there, they are happy. They don't mind giving you the extra 300 next year. But nobody will trust you with the extra money. See, they are willing to pay a high school 10,000 a month. That is okay. They're not willing to pay a Montessori. Nobody's willing to pay a Montessori. That is the biggest problem in our industry. People are not willing to pay. And then they can leave anytime they want without paying you. You cannot do anything about it. The moment the child gets admission to a high school, they just stop coming and paying fees. So you can't do anything about it.
That's then, ma'am, one of the biggest challenge. Then if we can jot down for a Montessori preschool, then it would be the one of the biggest challenge, we would say, right?
We keep some security deposit. We used to keep that to 2 months fees. Even people used to owe us 6 months, 8 months. Last year we had a pair of twins who owe us 36,000. Never got it.
Okay.
Never got it. Today, tomorrow, later. So a lot of money goes in a Montessori, By the end of the year, when you do your accounts, minimum 2 is gone. People don't pay the fees.
Okay, ma'am, one more thing. Since you have seen this industry since 2 decades, so we would like to understand, means for if anybody wants to get into the business, so many used to prefer to start a preschool in a franchisee model, but many of the people don't prefer the go with a franchisee. They start their own preschool. So what should be the preferred mode of starting a preschool? So they should go with a
I
franchise.
think you're asking the wrong person. I will always say, go with your own open your own unit. If you have the money, have the idea, keep somebody who's knowledgeable. You can consult people. Like I've helped to open many Montessoris. Quite a few people have searched the net and found and come, and I've gone and look for a place, set up the thing, set up the syllabus. So get somebody's help to open a school, and that's it, and you run it yourself. But otherwise it's difficult because you're so much bound by everything else that like you get consultation in everything. So always get a good consultation and start.
Right.
Or take somebody who knows how to run a school, keep her a partner, or whatever suits you. But me, even though I myself wanted to give franchisee before the pandemic started, we had planned everything.
Okay.
But my franchisee is going to be different. Okay. Because like I said, the syllabus will be different for every area. But I've dropped the idea as of now. Because the entire thing started and I started my company and this and that and all, got the GST thing done, and after that the pandemic started. So just stopped everything.
No worries.
Yes, tell me.
We might expect that the beginners Montessori franchisee coming in after few years. We can expect.
I don't know. I don't know. I really have no idea
So
what
maybe
I'm going
down
to
the
do.
line, 5 years, we can see that, ma'am.
Sure, sure.
Maybe I had really prepared everything, and but somehow this whole pandemic thing started. I've got a lot of offers for franchisee, but I never wanted to give it. My only one problem is, if suppose I give you a franchisee and you open it, say in Salt Lake, and you are not running it properly. So that thing will percolate down to my other branches are not going to do well, because a beginners अच्छा नहीं है, Salt Lake वाला बहुत बेकार है. But here I have full control of all my 4 branches, and they're all doing well, and I've kept my best teachers. I don't employ anybody from outside. That is my motto. All the teachers who have worked for me for the last 20, 25, 18 years have been very good, speak well, love the children, can handle parents well. I make them the coordinators. So in every branch, I have coordinators who are running my school. In some branches, I have two coordinators. They run the school. And I keep running from, one branch to the other. Laketown being the main branch, I always sit here. So when I have got franchisee, even my family and even outsiders, so many people have said, what's your problem? You will get the money. So I said, see, money is not the main thing. What if the name of the brand gets spoiled? Then I'm finished. What will I do with the money that you'll give me? Like, I need to survive with the brand name. So for all these years, instead of getting hundreds of calls, I did not give franchisee. But then now, and my son and every say, you're getting old, mummy, now you give franchisee and you leave. But still, from within me, I don't want to give as yet. I want to try once again after the pandemic. But I do feel somewhere down the line, I will give a franchisee. But yes, I do consult people who want to open a school.
That's great.
Very well said, ma'am. Even means at Teeny Beans also we believe in having a person should open his own preschool with his own independence, so that the person can run his own way. And we always believe, and we kept that belief, and we assist in that way to open that school.
Can you tell me what is Teeny Beans? I just have no idea, and I don't even know why I'm here. So can you just tell me what is Teeny Beans?
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Ratna, if you
Teeny
can
Beans,
take this picture.
yeah, sure, definitely. So, ma'am, as I have told you on the very first day of our communication, Teeny Beans is like Beanstalk Edu Service is the main company, and Teeny Beans is one of the branch of the company. Teeny Beans is a non-franchisee, zero royalty model preschool solution. As you said, people, especially preschool should be self-run. So,
Yeah.
Teeny Beans helps people to set their own brand.
Oh,
designing
you
their
consult.
logos.
Yeah.
Yes, from designing their logos to curriculum implementation to teacher training, everything Teeny Beans does. And they don't use our banner or our brand or logo as the Teeny Beans schools. No, we help the people to set their own school.
Yeah. Got it. I've already done that to 4 or 5 of them.
Okay, that's great, ma'am.
That's really
And
good.
even like we will be launching our new app also, that is called Buzz app. So Buzz app will be a one-point solution for all the preschools. It's not only for the who has taken Teeny Beans, it will be for all the preschool owners who are running the preschool, because it will have like school comparison, marketing aspects. It will have the administrative things, the curriculum, the worksheets. Teacher parents connections will be there. Teacher can apply through that app for the jobs and all those things. So it will be one platform.
Worksheets, meaning whose worksheets?
Worksheets will be for the Teeny Beans worksheets, but if any other school
Okay.
wants to use it,
Use it.
can use it.
Okay.
So that will
Got
be
it.
absolutely free for the
Got it.
preschool.
So I think you're the first of its kind.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, in the addition, there would be a tool, like we said, like you were also you have also rightly mentioned the word of mouth thing, which works very well for a preschool. But in market, we say we do word of mouth, but there is no measurement tool. Means whether I'm doing a good word of mouth or a bad word of mouth, there is no measuring tool for the word of mouth. So
Yeah.
we would be implementing that also for the. From that, you would be able to measure that I'm doing a word of mouth activity. So it's either it's bringing the result or it's not bringing the result. What is going wrong? So we can analyze the word of mouth through the Buzz app.
Got it. Got it.
It will be capturing everything. What is the pain or happiness of the preschools are there? It will be capturing everything. We are trying to make it by taking the feedbacks and everything.
Oh,
And
got it.
surely
Got
we are
it.
going to launch it in the like maybe January 2022. We will be launching it.
Okay. 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 Great.
So, ma'am, one last question. So, how do you see the future of the preschool industry between of 2022 to 2025? Means, how do you forecast the future?
See, it is quite bright because see, both parents are working nowadays. Okay. So
Hmm.
they need a place to send their child so that the child is learning and doing something. So preschools can never disappear, that is for sure. But I just wish that the high schools would not take children at the age of 2 and sort of encroach into our domain where we are trying to teach the kids from 2 to 5. So in that way we can survive. But in Bengal, it is getting difficult to survive because of these multiple reasons. The schools are lowering the ages. Okay. Then the exodus of all the young generation outside. So that is where we are sort of, things are becoming difficult in Bengal, but I don't think it's the same because there's a beginners in Guwahati also. My sister-in-law runs it. And she's so happy. I mean, there are 5+ children still in her school. They will go to high school when they're 6. And we don't have a single 5+ child. So it all depends from state to state. Like, I don't think Montessori can ever disappear. And whatever the government has said about activity-based thing, we are already doing it. I think we're too good with our work. All the Montessoris, we are very good with our work. So I don't think they can survive without us. Even when they take an interview, they want a child who can speak, who can read, who can write, who is toilet trained. We are doing all the dirty job. So Montessori, I think, is I always say, like, you prepare your child for engineering and medical in class 12, no? How much effort and focus you give in all these FITZY class and that class and this class. Montessori is like that, to prepare your child for the future, for the outside world. After home, a child has to come to a Montessori to sort of, it's like a stepping stone to a more formal world. And here it is very homely. So this is an absolute necessity. Montessori is an absolute necessity.
Right.
But it just depends on which place you are. Maybe the like Jamshedpur and Bardhaman and these smaller places, it is better. But here it is just got too crowded. And especially these franchisee schools, like in a particular area in 1 kilometer, there will be, if there are 10 schools, 9 of them are franchisee schools.
Yes, ma'am.
But they also shut down very fast. I've seen that. My friends had taken franchisee. It's like one day mother-in-law is sitting, next day mother-in-law is not there, father-in-law is sitting, father-in-law has got work, so sister-in-law is sitting. It doesn't work like that. You need to have somebody who's a front desk person to represent the school. Every day somebody, so it didn't work. They had to, shut it down.
Exactly.
So franchisee, yeah, you pay the money, everything, and then whether it runs or not is your headache. Don't you agree to that?
No, very true, ma'am. Very.
So it doesn't work that way, no? आपने पैसा दे दिया, उसके बाद चल रहा है, and every, I don't know, suddenly they will mushroom like that 200 franchisee of this particular brand. How do you keep a track?
Very well said, ma'am. We should have a first thing, we should have the passion for the teaching. Means a preschool should have a passion for the teaching, and a preschool should have a vision. Means how they want to make the preschool.
And the person after the area, next is the person running the school.
Exactly.
Because everything else depends upon her.
True, ma'am.
That is one most important person.
True.
So if I have I have the money, my husband has the money, wants to open a school for the wife, that will not do. I mean, okay, school to khol diya, but the wife can't sit in the principal's desk. Because how will she handle? You need somebody who's handled parents, who's worked in a Montessori, who's worked in a junior school, who knows about education, because you are answerable to all the parents. When a parent asks you, ma'am, Don Bosco mein kya puchte hain, what will you say? Right. Ma'am, my child is writing with both hands. What do I do? Then you should know what is ambidextrous. So there are many things a person at the table has to know. So I always say that the area and the front desk person is the most important. That's because you are representing that whole school. So, because even when I thought of the franchisee, one of my rules were I will appoint the person and the teachers. I will not let the franchisee, that unit to take their own people, because then we'll have Devrani, Jethanis and everybody working. It doesn't work. Yeah, people do that. I've seen so many schools just shut down because of that. The entire family gets involved. They have enough money. They open a school, and then it doesn't work that way. So appointing the people should be in the hands of people who actually know about the job.
True, ma'am.
So if you are helping if you're helping them to set up a school, then the appointment should be in your hands also, or taking the interviews, and because if you set up, you have to set it up properly.
Right. Very well said, ma'am. So it was really having with us in the preschool diary.
Yeah, and I
We got
told you all my secrets.
so we got a lot
It
of
was
input.
wonderful learning for us all.
Exactly.
So
We got a lot of input from you, being a, and you shared really about your experience about the preschool and the important factor, which would be learning for the new owners, or the entrepreneurs who will be jumping into this section. So it was really a great learning from you as well, and for us also it's a great learning. So when we talk with the new new partners, we could point out this point for pointers, that these are the main things that you should keep in mind. And
Sure.
ma'am,
Yes.
we will be sharing the bites with you also, and it will not for the Teeny Beans partners only.
I
This
didn't
will be
hear. I
for,
didn't hear.
Pan.
Tell me once again.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing the bites with you also. You can just put it in your YouTube channels, and you can just share it with your parents or the friends also. And it's not only for our partners, it is a learning pan India. Whoever wants to start a preschool, definitely through this session, if they will go through in details, they will learn the basic and the most important factors, that before starting, it's not only a business of investment that I have money and I have invested, but yes, apart after investment, what are the things you have to keep in mind, whether the location, the people, passion for the kids, whether you want to be into that job role or not. It's not only the investment. So
Yeah.
these are really very relevant and very beautifully said, ma'am. So for any entrepreneur or entrepreneur, it will be really helpful. If they go through this session, they will learn a lot. It
I
is very
hope so.
educative.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, really thank you, ma'am, because it was like the first call we made, and you just said yes to for coming up over here. So it has been really a very insightful session, and it is really very educative session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
okay, thank you, ma'am, for your time. Bye, ma'am.